Boom. Verse 7 of the Tao Te Ching. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Chase Corrington. This is the Chase Corrington YouTube channel, where we used to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. If I can speak right this morning, but the reason I say used to is because I'm not quite sure anymore if constant maintained happiness through enlightenment or any other means is actually the way. Thinking more about maybe the yin and the yang example, the black and the white, the balance between the two, the necessity of bad for good, the necessity of dark for light, the background of space, giving the opportunity for the light to shine out of, and actually without the space, there would be nothing for the light to shine out of. Not even to contrast against, but to come out of. It's almost like the darkness creates the light and therefore is responsible for its existence because, the light comes out of the darkness. But I'm just pontificating. But anyways, the whole seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment is under review in my mind. I love the phrase, saying, little catchline, tagline. It's good because we should seek to achieve happiness and we should seek to maintain it, but we shouldn't seek to avoid struggle. I think what I'm trying to figure out is how to articulate the necessity of struggle for happiness, or how we have to, that there's a way that we can struggle while not struggling at all, because there are challenges and lessons and opportunities for growth. Without these challenges and things, we don't necessarily have opportunities for growth. It's like if the game's on easy and if you just walk through the whole time, then it's actually not a lot of fun. The perfect amount of challenge where you can grow and continually overcome things is where the most fun is. Sometimes people like playing games on the hardest difficulty. They just like doing 1,000 retries. But enough of my ranting and raving. We got Dr. Wayne Dyer's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Living the Wisdom of the Tao. And you got to be selfish. Selflessly selfish. Ooh, I'll do a selflessly selfish plug here. CLC Paint. Check that out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Etsy, Shopify, all kinds of stuff. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, so let's just do a quick review here. And the reason I said you got to be selfish is because if I'm not also doing this for me, then I get confused and I stop doing it for the purpose of doing it. Like when I said that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm actually having fun right now. But so let's check this out. We're going to go back here. And I recommend everybody get this book. See if I can remember to put it in the description, link to it. But so the first verse of the Tao Te Ching, as described by Wayne Dyer here, is living the mystery. In this opening verse of the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu tells us that the Tao is both named and nameless. Sounds paradoxical, and it is. Paradoxical thinking is embedded in Eastern concepts such as the yin and yang. Isn't it funny? I didn't know that was going to come up, but I was already talking about that in this video. Or the feminine and the masculine, where things are comfortably described as both this and that. In the West, by contrast, we tend to view opposites as incompatible. And see, that's why I was trying to rethink a new way to articulate, seek to achieve, and maintain happiness through enlightenment. Because you have to not only acknowledge, but appreciate the compatibility of the opposite, variable, or the opposite concept, or the opposite aspect of life and the universe and experience and everything. Literally everything has this balance that seems paradoxical, right? Tao is both named and nameless. The yin and the yang, feminine and the masculine, comfortably described as both this and that. Things can be both this and that. And our maintained happiness can also be a struggle and a happiness, comfortably, both. The first verse was around that idea. Enjoy the mystery, practice letting go. All right, so the second verse, living the paradoxical unity. So once again, a focus on under heaven, all can see beauty as beauty, only because there is ugliness. See, it's this all can know good as good, only because there is evil. Gosh, so weird that I seriously didn't plan this. I'm doing this for me, for future reference, and it happened to line up with my thoughts on my catchphrase on how the dark is a necessity for light. I got a whole notepad over here. I'll show you this just to prove it. The necessity for bad for good. A moment here for metaphorical purposes. But that goes for quite a few pages, and this just all lines up with where my mind is going. So the third verse was living contentment. Putting a value on status will create contentiousness. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. By not displaying what is desirable, you will cause the people's hearts to remain undisturbed. It's powerful, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see, that one was living contentment. The first two was about the paradoxical unity to me. The fourth verse is living infinitely, so not finite. Fourth verse, the Tao is empty, but inexhaustible, bottomless, the ancestor of it all. And these verses are actually longer. I'm just doing the top couple lines as we make our way to the seventh verse of the Tao Te Ching. So the fifth verse, as described by Wayne Dyer, was living impartially. The Tao does not discriminate. Like heaven and earth, it is impartial. The Tao is the source of all, the great invisible provider. It doesn't show preference by giving energy to some while depriving others. Rather, the basic life-sustaining components of air, sunshine, atmosphere, and rain are provided for all on the planet. By choosing to harmonize our inner and outer consciousness with this powerful feature of the Tao, we can realize the true self that we are. And I would add to that sentence, the true self that we unknowingly, most of the time, actually have access to. Top line of the fifth verse, Heaven and earth are impartial. They see the 10,000 things as straw dogs. The 10,000 things is a reference to all of the stuff, the distractions and the things in the world, the material things and all the things that you get caught up thinking about when your mind is just racing. Heaven and earth are impartial. So think about like God or universe or Gaia, earth, just nature itself are impartial. They're not like, ooh, we're for this side or that side, good or the bad, happiness or unhappiness. These are all things that we've made up based on our desires. So heaven and earth, universe, source, and nature are impartial. They don't take sides. It is, nature is neither good nor bad. It just is. This is what I'm thinking off of this. They see the 10,000 things, all the things that we think about and go crazy over, as straw dogs, as meaningless. He's got a description here, Wayne Dyer does, of the straw dogs. And we went over this in the 5th verse. So if you're watching this, you may notice at the end of the video, or maybe I'll put a link up here somewhere to the video earlier in this series. And I go over this as well as the straw dogs and what their meaning was. But a simple description is they seen them as meaningless. The sage is not sentimental. He treats all his people as straw dogs. That's deep stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and myself. Really ponder on that one. The 6th verse was the last one we went over. Living creatively, the spirit that never dies, is called the mysterious feminine. Although she becomes the whole universe, her immaculate purity is never lost. There's powerful concepts. Now, today, this video, we're going to go into the 7th verse right here. Wayne Dyer describes it as living beyond ego. Beyond. Under B-E-Y-O-N-D. It's a couple ways you could say that one, apparently. Beyond. So the 7th verse here of the Tao Te Ching. Heaven is eternal. The earth endures. Why do heaven and earth last forever? They do not live for themselves only. This is the secret of their durability. For this reason, the sage puts himself last, and so ends up ahead. He stays a witness to life, so he endures. Serve the needs of others, and all your own needs will be fulfilled. Through selfless action, fulfillment is attained. The 7th verse of the Tao Te Ching. I think that one, they're all powerful. I think that one may be the most powerful of all yet for people chasing success, for people chasing achievements, striving for goals, reaching, trying to grab life. It was just something yesterday I was listening to. I think it was Alan Watts. who was like, if you want life, stop clinging to it. He goes, take a quick breath in and try to hold it and never give it back. You know, eventually you have to give the breath back. And in actuality, it works better if you let it go, because then breathe out. And as much as you try to breathe out, your breath comes back to you. So if you want life, let it go. Or don't cling on to it. If you want, or maybe the old saying, like if you're looking for a new relationship, don't look for it and it will find you, kind of thing. Like, it's that paradox of how if you, instead of striving for things, we should rather just arrive. The psychology of arriving versus striving, or rather than trying so hard. It's incredible. Let's see what Wayne Dyer has to say here. Living beyond ego. The opening line of this 7th verse of the Tao Te Ching is a reminder that the Tao, the source of heaven and earth, is eternal. And the opening line is, heaven is eternal, the earth endures. By extension, the original nature of life is everlasting and enduring. There is a quality that supports this durability, however, and that quality responds when we live from our Tao center rather than from our worldly ego center. Or another way I would put that is we live from our higher self rather than our lower self, or we live from the part of us that can be, that Alan Watts would call conscious attention, or the part of you that watches yourself when you do things. Like, I was watching a video the other day about, you know, like, what if you hate your job, how to feel better or while you're at work or something. And the guy was like, you can watch things from an unattached perspective. Like, you're just there as an observer. And it almost becomes funny. You see people getting upset about things and you look around and go, what the hell is really going on here? But you can do that with yourself. Like, think about watching birds, or even if you've ever like just people watched, you can't really watch something unless it doesn't know you're watching it. And that's the real secret, is to try to watch yourself without knowing you're watching yourself. Incredible. All right, let's see what Wayne Dyer recommends. Actually, let's read this a little bit here. Being civilized in most cultures primarily constitutes being consumed with attaining success in the acquisition of power and things which supposedly will provide happiness and prevent unhappiness. This is one of my obsessive topics, the relationship between success and happiness, the whole striving or arriving. Anyways, the acquisition of power and supposedly happy, prevent unhappiness. The primary idea is of a self who's a separate being in a separate body, with a name, with a cultural, biological data that are similar in values and patriotism to others and all kinds of things. The Tao, particularly in this 7th verse, is suggesting that we update these notions and all add to that ideologies, philosophies, beliefs, upbringings, I mean, it's like, man, we really got to rethink why we feel the way we do about certain things. That is, in the seventh verse, suggesting we update these notions and choose to exist for more than ourselves or our tribe. That is, to radically change our thoughts in order to change our lives, which is the title of this book that you should certainly get. Change your thought, change your life. So, and probably the best thing about this book is at the end of each of these little couple page writings here, little essays he calls them when he's talking about it in the audio book, he does what's called do the Tao now. And so I'm going to offer you and myself and whoever watches this in the future, heck, my kids in the future could be watching this. That's real legacy. If I'm gone and my grandchildren are watching this, like, look at how crazy Grandpa was. Do the Tao now. Be on the lookout for ego demands for an entire day. Ego demands. Think about what ego demands are. The part of yourself. What part of yourself is the ego? Be on the lookout for ego demands for an entire day. Decide to diffuse as many of them as you can comfortably, perhaps by assigning them an intensity grade. Wow, that's a unique exercise. Assign each of your ego reactions or demands an intensity grade, like 1 to 10. Living beyond ego situations that are easy to accomplish get a low number, while those requests that are difficult to quell get a higher number. That's a bit more complicated one than previous challenges in this book, but I like that. I like that a lot. The next one will be living in the flow. Can't wait to do that. Hope I do it sooner than 3 months. Hopefully I'll do it next Wednesday or sometime sooner than that, because I really love this book. And it's hard to do these video kind of things just without getting past the freaking ego, like worrying about things like whether it's too bright or not, just doing it for myself, but doing it to record thoughts and ideas and then just put it on YouTube, because why not share it for people to hopefully get value from. If you get value from this, let me know in the comments below. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content. It lets me know I should do more. But even that thought gets me away from just doing it for the sake of the fact that I like doing it. See, that makes me smile there. Just do it because I want to do it, because I like doing it. And if you like it, then that works out too, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that was the 7th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Be sure to check out Wayne Dyer, all his books, especially Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And we'll be back in the future with more interesting topics to throw your way. Thanks for watching.